This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Listen, this podcast is not about being right. It's about being entertaining and sometimes right.
There's nothing more intimidating than a title of Corn Dog Operation, I tell you what. that sounds like a full-on mafia. You don't fuck with that. The reason Ohio State was able to boat race everyone was because of that loss to Michigan. All this shit that Ryan Day has gotten, I think you got to give him a little bit of credit for fucking doing what they did.
Yeah, 1,000%.
In the end, this kind of made that loss look like peanuts.
We're back. Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion!
If I were to look at all of my guy friends and who would be, just from the look, who would be the best at blowjays, it's you.
Me?
Yeah. It's a
Why?
compliment. Take it as one.
Why? Do I have nice lips?
Yeah, and you've got the nicest teeth now.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, I mean, like, they're not real, but yeah, look at them lips. All discolored on this TV behind. Not a good looking TV.
You also suck down a beer pretty smoothly, and I feel like you would deep throat pretty well.
Oh, I have the most sensitive gag reflex on earth.
Well,
Not a good one.
You can gag, but I'm saying you can take all 8 inches of it. You know?
I don't think I could.
Are you saying you're 8 inches?
No, just a general 8 inches.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even close to. Mine's like a half inch.
Can I tell you guys our number one most listened to podcast ever? It is the Sucking on a Chili Dog episode that we did back in, I think, like season 2 or 3. That's our number one most listened to episode.
People like wieners.
Which, by the way, also our stats came through this from last year.
A Spotify Wrapped. A
Our-
little late.
Yeah, a little late, but I will say that Germany has been overtaken as the number 2 country that has listened to us. This is why I know that, like, even when we're dead, our voices will live on, because
Is it Pakistan?
it's not Pakistan. No. Where would you think our number 2 most listened to country was, which shot up the map, overtaking Germany as the number 2 country outside of the United States?
Gotta
Turks
be
and Caicos.
Pakistan.
No, it's more so in your old neck of the woods there, Juan Magoo.
Oh, we're in Asia.
We're in Asia. That's why.
Mongolia?
Is it Philippines? Is
No.
it my family?
It is a 3-syllable country, though.
Malaysia?
No, that's a good guess.
Singapore?
Singapore. Shout out to Singapore.
Crazy Rich Asians listening to us?
We are a 1%er podcast for the Singaporeans. Yes. So,
Wow.
our top 3, the United
big-
States.
It's a big food country, and all we talk about is food.
That's true. Yeah. Singapore, United States, Singapore, and Germany are our top 3 countries. Shout out to all 18 countries that listen to us on all of our platforms. We do appreciate you.
Shin Yu, that's rock on in Singapore.
You're so full of shit.
You don't know that.
I can't believe anything he says. He was trying to bait me in. I think he did, actually, on a Saturday Night Live drama between Tina Fey and Kristen Wiig. That was his latest story, which is fake, but it sounded plausible. So when you call me gullible, it's not that I'm gullible. It's that your stories are believable enough, and you speak to my interests. Like, you know what,
You know Pete's a huge Kristen Wiig guy.
And I love Tina Fey. Listen, Tina Fey can get it.
Well, she can get it all right.
You think she's hot?
Dude,
I
are you
absolutely
serious?
think
Oh
Tina
my
Fey is
God.
hot. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Really?
Hell yeah,
Come
dude.
on with it. Are you like? And now I don't even know. Like, are you serious?
Tina Fey is absolutely gorgeous. Yes.
So good. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she's a pretty lady, but I wouldn't be like drooling over her like it seems you rascals
I love
are.
Tina Fey. She's hot for one, but her mind is hotter. So that's how you know.
Oh wow, Pete.
Yeah, I know. Look at me.
I'd say samesies, but I don't give a shit about her mind.
So
if her mind is located on her tits, then yeah, I love her mind.
Tina Fey's hella hot, bro.
Dude,
hey,
guys,
you know what's weird? Since you've been doing the podcast remote, this is the first, what is it, 3 or 4 episodes now that he's doing it remote.
Yeah.
These are the only times you're doing the podcast in a t-shirt. No hoodie.
Is it hot there? You got the the furnace heated up?
You're trying to say that I don't do the podcast there in t-shirts?
Wait, no, just in the winter.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Miguel. In the winter, it's cold.
Yeah,
it's not that cold.
I mean, we're both. I'm wearing the jacket you got me for my birthday. I hope you noticed.
I did.
And
you're wearing a hoodie too, bitch.
Yeah.
You want me to do this whole episode in a t-shirt?
Do it.
Yes.
Dress down, baby. Take it off.
No, fuck you, dude. It's
Start
cold out
preparing
here.
for Mexico.
It's cold out here.
Man, I am so pumped for Mexico.
Yeah.
There's some bad news. There's a meat shortage.
That's true. We were looking it up.
We're not going to have a lot of meat.
With all the tariffs and everything that Trump is putting on it, or it's going to be kind of hard to get what we need.
Like, it's hard to get steak and chicken and all that shit.
Is it going to be hard to get or just more expensive?
It's hard to get.
Yeah.
Because if it was money, like there's enough guys splitting it, it wouldn't stop us. But we're going to be stuck with like mostly seafood.
Not terrible, but.
Hum. Really looking forward to some steak.
Good thing that we made that up.
Yeah, dumbass.
You're such an idiot.
Idiot. Yeah. See, got you. Now I know what it feels
You
like.
know
That
what?
was great. Thank you for letting me be part of that.
I
That
will
was
tell
great.
you,
Yeah.
I am not attracted to your mind, you dummy.
Just your tits. Just your tits. Yeah.
I mean, you guys, Peter pays attention to more politics and shit like that. So, and he's in the food business. It makes sense.
You know how you do these quick pranks? Current events, bitch.
Yeah.
That's how people fall for it.
Dude, you guys got me so good. I cannot.
We
believe
did.
it.
Yeah.
You could be sarcastic, but we done did it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm being totally.
Hey, you've been
sincere.
pumped there, Nick.
Got you. You and your pinky ass ring, you bitch. You're wearing a Franklin barbecue hat. I was just myself in Dallas, Texas, and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We went to a place called Hutchins Barbecue in North Dallas, kind of near. What was the suburb called?
Fort Worth.
I don't remember. It was north of Farmers Branch. It was right north. Yeah, Hutchins Barbecue was what it was called. Actually recently reviewed by Keith Lee. Not a struggling barbecue place, but he was.
It's low on the list.
What do you mean?
It's like number 9 out of the 10 in that area.
Well, I don't know if you're bullshitting me or not. However, I know that Keith Lee went to it and was like, "Hey, like this has some hype. Let's go and look." It was incredible. And you would walk up. You get the meat by the pound. They've got a guy who's cutting it up. So you got the moist brisket, and we got some St. Louis ribs. And then they go down the list, and then it becomes cafeteria style. So then they go, okay, you can get a small or a large side, and then there's like beans, and they go load the beans up. So then you take the scoop and you load it up like you're at a buffet or something like that. You got best potato salad I think I've ever had in my entire life. Very fresh dill forward. Mac and cheese on point. Cream corn, so good. And then the piece de resistance, whatever, is that they had an all-you-can-eat dessert buffet where you had the banana pudding and you had some peach cobbler. Banana pudding, a lot better than peach cobbler. Peach cobbler could have been like a little bit crispier there on the good old crumble. So good.
That's a white person take.
It was incredible. So
Hutchins is trash.
fuck you. It was good.
Dude,
I'll show you.
I gotta be honest, that sounds trash.
What?
It sounds
Actually.
trash.
That's a sign of a good barbecue spot doesn't have. Are you sure you weren't at a Golden Corral? Like good barbecue spots don't have an all you can eat.
It sounds
joint,
like
bro.
you stumbled. It sounds like you stumbled into a hometown buffet.
Hold on. I'm gonna send some photos here. I've got
The photos won't change
It
our
was
mind.
so
Nothing-
good. I can't
Nothing
believe that.
could
Like,
change my mind.
I honestly can't believe that you guys are against this.
Because a good barbecue spot, they are open for a few hours and then they run out. There's no all you can eat shit in that
Oh my
fuck
God.
that stays open all day.
If you're a well-oiled machine, then you are.
No.
Dude, I even forgot about the Texas Twinkies, the freaking the jalapeno poppers that they had.
And
were
they
the
have
size
those
of
just
your
spitting out.
fist. No, fuck you. They were the size of your fist, and they had chopped brisket with bacon, obviously like the normal stuff, and the wrapped in.
So
the
like
wrapped
an
in-
armadillo egg.
I mean, it was gigantic. So,
No, an
it was great.
armadillo egg is wrapped in sausage.
You're wrapped in sausage,
Mm.
dude.
Listen,
So guys, I know
I enjoyed it.
I know you want to talk all about barbecue, but I mentioned, I believe last week that I started Gilmore Girls, and I think we need to discuss that further.
Okay.
Lorelei and
That-
Rory, you're deep into it.
That sounds good. Okay.
Is it Lorelei or Lorelei?
Lorelai, I think.
Lorelei and Rory. Yeah.
You ignorant fuck. Anyways,
I have seen more Gilmore Girls that over and over than you have. You're first timer, dude.
What's happening in Gilmore Girls that you say we need to talk about?
no, I'm just kidding around. I will say
Oh.
though, I did start watching it just to like I don't know. I'd been seeing ads for it on Netflix and whatever, and I was like, okay, I'll give this a chance. And the
Give it a
first
whirl.
season, I was like, oh, this is kind of, it's it's a feel good show. It's you don't have to really pay attention. Now I'm in season 5, and I've like cried a couple times.
Yes, yes.
It's
You are unlocked
incredible.
all these things. You're not a crier usually, so this is great. I love to hear
Mhm.
it.
Absolutely,
soft
incredible
bitch.
show.
Yeah.
It's an incredible show. Highly recommend.
Just wait till you get to the part where Rory, her boyfriend, and her mom have a threesome.
Yeah. that's
Dude, I
exactly
can't
what
wait.
happens. Yeah.
I can't wait.
My new show, which I started on my flight out to Dallas and Oklahoma City, was Entourage. I just started.
Ooh.
I feel like that's like a show that any guy should have watched.
It's a
already.
good one. It's a real good one. Miguel
about-
hasn't seen it either.
No.
Well,
The thing about the show so far, and again, this is like S1E5 maybe. I'm just kind of like waiting for like the bad thing to happen. It's almost like there's like too many things, and for anyone who hasn't like seen the show in a long time, it's like, this like up and coming actor who has all these guys who are friends for a long time. He's like, each of them plays like a different role within the quote unquote entourage. And it kind of feels like when does the shoe or whatever, the proverbial thing drop and like shit hits the fan? And it hasn't happened yet. I kind of feel like they've been getting away with too many good things happening to this guy. Maybe he just stumbles into
do you
it
know it's
because
based off of a real actor?
It's not. I mean, maybe it is.
Yes, it is.
loosely. I see. Here's the thing. I don't want to do this because
If you-
it's just going to be the whole episode where you just and then
It's
we're
ba-
just
It's based
Wait,
off
wait,
based off
wait,
of-
wait,
Mark
wait.
Wahlberg.
Oh,
Okay,
come
he
on.
all right. He was in the first.
He wasn't gonna
episode.
believe it.
I wasn't. No.
I was gonna have him guess.
Well, Mark Wahlberg made a cameo there in the
Yeah,
first episode.
That whole show is based off of Mark Wahlberg. Because if you watch Wahlburgers, his current friend Drama is one of the characters. I think it's Kevin Dillon is Drama, right?
yeah.
Mitch makes a bold statement and claims that I would like Entourage more than Breaking Bad.
Mm,
I don't know about that, but Entourage is very, very good.
it's good.
It's
Yeah.
definitely like guys being dudes show.
very
like
guys
imagine-
being dudes.
Yeah, like just imagine if all, 5, 6 of us in our group, we were all single, and one of us was like a famous actor, and all of us were like on the team together working and like just making millions of dollars. Like that's essentially the show.
Right.
And, but to answer your question, Pete, the other shoe definitely does drop.
Okay, there you go. Good to know, because it feels like it should, and I'm just waiting for it. And the thing is, it kind of fits our old system there with good old Mitchell, where we would go out to a bar, and then there would be like,
Ron Tom's.
Ron Tom's. We would go to Ron Tom's, and then like, hey, like the guy from what's his name? I don't even remember his name. The good-looking one with the hair, who was with Melissa Joan Hart in that music video.
Adam.
I don't remember.
Adrian Brody.
No, that's not Adrian Brody. But it's kind of like he gets all like the girls, and then there's like
Grenier.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's like he gets all the girls, and then there becomes like a tiered system in terms of like the pecking order. Like okay, Turtle there at ends up getting all of the sloppy whatevers. So
I'm Turtle.
A couple of hard R's, a couple of hard F's in there, just to kind of like keep you loose from back in the early 2000s when that show came out. You love to see it.
Refrigerator.
So, it kept me a little bit busy. I was like, hey, this is the show that I'm going to pick up when TikTok gets banned, and then it came back after 17 hours. So. I was wondering, I asked Miguel about this earlier today. I was like, what was your life like as a person who didn't have TikTok when TikTok got banned? And he was like, live my life.
Yeah, just normal. We just watched all the TikToks on Instagram a couple days later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was emotional for Lindsay. I know that.
Emotional?
Lindsay uses TikTok a little bit differently, where it's just kind of like she likes it for the community side of things. She loves the comments. She loves all that. And so for me, I was just kind of like, this is just a big old political stunt. Like nothing is going away. Everything's going to be fine. There was like a 90-minute period where I kind of like was like, hey, this kind of sucks because like, your habits become a thing and you get used to it. But I was like, this thing's coming back. It's going to be a big old political stunt, and it was. So here we are.
I just don't see the big deal. I'm not knocking people for not liking the fact that it was supposed to be banned. But TikTok, the reason people like TikTok is its convenience.
Yeah.
TikTok is just a faster YouTube. Everything you can find on TikTok, you can find on fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just like you can scroll through millions of videos quickly.
Yeah, and I would say that, like, I think that the algorithm is a lot better than any other thing, but but anyway, so I still intend to lean into Entourage, and I will report back 20 years later what my thoughts, because now Braxton is in his Gilmore Girls era. We need to get you. Have you watched The Wire yet? Like, what
No.
like old ass show are you gonna get?
Entourage probably is going to be my next one.
Right.
I'm very busy.
Start it. We can do it together.
I'm busy with Silo, which just ended, and Severance, which just started.
Severance did just start. We're gonna wait. We wanted to wait for Silo to end and have all of it, and we're gonna wait for Severance to end so that we can watch. I don't want to do this weekly thing. I don't do that anymore. So.
Yeah, we're rewatching the first season of Severance. Jared didn't watch it, so I'm rewatching it with her.
Nice.
And hopefully, by the time we're done with that, the second one will be completely out.
That's kind of our goal. We rewatched Squid Game, and I was very happy to have rewatch Squid Game and then roll right into season 2, because there was a lot more plot in season 1 than I anticipated. Just kind of like, oh, okay, everyone dies and it's a whole thing, and then like you go, oh crap, like there's some actual plot to this thing. So
people, who doesn't have to rewatch anything? People with good memory.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It's all fresh up here.
But the fact that like Squid Game is calling it season 2 and then only doing half of the season, they can't call season 3 season 3. It's part 2 of season 2.
Well, then talk to the Koreans.
All right, I'll do that.
You should, Pete. Call him up.
Do you watch, Braxton? I know Miguel's answer here. Do you watch Squid Game in English or Korean and read the subtitles?
I do English and subtitles.
English with subtitles. Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are strictly Korean with English subtitles, not Korean subtitles. That would be quite difficult. So
Has that helped you in any
Does
way?
that-
Do you know how to speak Korean?
no.
Does
no,
it
no,
make
I
you
just-
feel like better or
Yeah, you think
cooler
you're
than-
better than us or something?
It's just kind of like hearing it as it was made. Like, I mean, like they made it in Korean, and it kind of feels like without hearing that felt phony. It felt fake. So
I think that's just you justifying the elitist behavior.
No, fuck off. No.
That's
I-
what
I-
it is.
You watch Parasite,
tend-
with
tend
the,
to agree.
Yeah,
a very elitist behavior.
whatever. So
That's like Jordan saying Nosferatu is good cinema. fucking idiot.
I'm not sure if it was good cinema or not, but congratulations to the Ohio State Buckeyes on their national championship win, and to Braxton for his $50 that he gets off of me.
Well, some guy that exists around somewhere called it the beginning of the college football season and won $100.
Got
Wonder
it.
who that is.
We'll never know.
So it was looking like it was going to be a blowout. Ohio State 28-7 in the early minutes of the second half. And then Notre Dame makes their comeback. It looked like a lot of momentum was happening. Then they go for that field goal to put it to within 13, which was criticized, at least on the McAfee podcast. Definitely here, where you just go like, wait, hold on. Like, you have the momentum. Yeah, like Ohio State was tightening up there towards the red zone, but like kicking a field goal there did nothing for you. And then Notre Dame ends up coming back, taking it to an 8-point game, and had what felt like Ohio State on their heels at that point. I was really curious your guys' thoughts on that field goal attempt.
It's dumb because it the only way you kick that field goal is if it was going to change a number of possessions they were going to need, but it wasn't going. It was going from 16 to 13 even if you made it.
It changed nothing.
It was going to be a 2-possession game regardless. So you are on the 5-yard line?
Yeah.
Go for the fucking touchdown.
You have to.
That was
Yeah,
a
I
scared
agree.
call.
Yeah, I don't really get the sense behind that at all.
And then you walked away with no points. And I think, yeah, you said that in the moment, Miguel. It was a scared call because then you walk away from it. You're in the exact same position as you were, right? It's not as if like all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen now? Like you were in that exact same position.
And that was a ball don't lie moment because they missed the
And
fucking
then they
field
missed
goal.
it. They doinked it off. And then it gets back now to an 8-point game. Ohio State 3rd and 11 with the opportunity for Notre Dame to get the ball back. And like the first 3 plays, it was just like, what the hell is happening there?
Super conservative.
With Chip Kelly just like rolling back. You got 3rd and 11, and we look at that play, and you're playing man defense on that. And I looked, and we were watching the game, and I was like, I do not like how much that safety or that corner is sagging off of Jeremiah Smith at the bottom of the screen. And sure enough, they take a deep shot to Smith. He catches it. It was like, I've never called a play like quicker and more simply. Like you just knew it was going to go to that. And Miguel, you had a very insightful point about how that was going to play out. And like Ohio State basically saying what?
I don't remember. What?
That if you play man.
Oh, yeah. Because Jeremiah Smith said that in the beginning of the game. He's like, if you play man, no one can cover me. So we're going to take shots. So I don't think they've been playing zone most of the game, but they have been, I mean, Jeremiah Smith still had like 88 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
But they've had the safeties help. But that one, they just went straight one-on-one. I mean, even if that guy didn't give him any cushion, that he was gonna beat that guy.
He was so
no matter
far
what.
off. And like I understand that like you have to like protect the yard to gain. But when you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith who absolutely cooked the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl, burned you. Like he didn't need the 11. He got you 30. And that was like as predictable of how that was going to play out based off of defensively how Notre Dame looked. That was going to go.
I think the best
game
part,
set match.
The best part was we were watching it on the McAfee Field Pass, and they were questioning Chip Kelly. They're like, "What's he doing with all these conservative plays?" But it's almost like Chip Kelly set it up. Hey, we'll do 3 quarterback sneaks and get Howard to run it. And you probably didn't want to set it up on a 3rd and long, but then he fucking fires off that one-on-one, and it's like, all right, you don't question Chip anymore. he kind of knew what he was doing.
National champion Chip Kelly. Congratulations to him. So,
yeah, and isn't Jeremiah Smith a true freshman?
True freshman. You got 2 more years of this, baby.
It's crazy.
Maybe we've seen. Maybe we talked about it. Have you guys seen the video of Ryan Day reacting in real time to the Jeremiah Smith commitment?
No.
It's incredible. He's just like almost like the wind got taken out of him, how excited he was.
Look at that fucking guy. You tell me he's not going to dominate in the NFL when
it's
he gets there?
I've covered college at both Oregon and Oregon State, and then, obviously with the Seahawks and in the Super Bowl and all that. When you see certain people, you go, that person is an NFL person. Like on college programs, you've got 105 guys, and some of them are there just to, fill space. But like, a Jeremiah Smith type, I remember Juwan Johnson when he was with the Ducks there towards the end of the time. He had previously been at Penn State. He walks up, you go, holy shit, like this person is a large human being, and this is an NFL caliber human being.
The thing that's scary with Jeremiah Smith is like you look at the way DK was at Ole Miss, and DK had the body, and DK had the speed.
Yeah.
And you knew that DK was going to be successful in the league, but DK with that build and with the speed is not the route runner that Jeremiah Smith is.
Right.
The hands and the route running. So you're kind of combining like the DK build, the DK speed, and then you take maybe like a Jamar Chase route running and hands, and then that guy's going to go in the league. The thing that's scary about Ohio State, if you have an investment in certain college football teams, and you're going to have to face this guy for 2 more years, regardless of who their quarterback is, regardless of who their running backs are, and their defense, because a lot of the players from Ohio State are graduating. But this is a powerhouse team that reloads, right?
Does not matter. Yeah.
But they have Jeremiah Smith, and they have another 5-star receiver that you didn't even hear about. It's Carnell Tate, because Emeka Egbuka is going to be gone.
Yeah.
But Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate next year, good fucking luck beating them again.
Sure.
It is going to be scary facing those two. You're going to have to choose who you fucking cover. You're going to have to give up touchdowns, regardless of who's throwing to them.
Sure.
You know who Jeremiah Smith reminds me of is Deebo Samuel.
For me, and I understand that point, I don't know Jeremiah Smith's game enough to understand the versatility that he may have with like what Deebo presents. He kind of like reminded me very much of like an AJ Brown, especially in these college football playoff games. So
I think you can take AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, and DK,
put
them all together,
squish them together,
and that's this fucking guy.
Maybe, yeah. So
if you're placing college bets, what is it? The Blitnikoff? Put it on him next year.
I mean, he's so good.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to having to face him for the next 2 years. Actually, I don't. We don't play
Ohio
State.
State next year.
Yeah.
I wanted to get the 2026 CFP playoff odds. Let's see if we, let's see, CFP odds.
Way too early.
You're
odds.
way too early. You're 2026 champions. Here we have Texas at plus 450, Ohio State at plus 500, Penn State at plus 750, Oregon at plus 750, and Alabama at plus 1,300, Notre Dame at plus 1,500.
All right, let's play some bets. I'll take the field. You take Oregon.
Yeah, there you go. Oregon will be back in the college football playoff next year. Their schedule is so easy.
I am willing to take.
So easy.
I'm willing to take every bet that I placed this year, with the exception of one, and that's Oregon not placing in the top 6 because that was dumb.
Yeah, well,
hindsight.
Yeah,
but I'll take everything else.
Some of the other ones that I placed were dumb for me. So either you take them all or you don't take any.
Boom.
Well, the top 6, I'm not doing that again because you're talking about a way too early odds. They're 4th. I'm not doing.
It'll be interesting to see what they change if they get rid of conference champions and all that. Obviously, like the committee and all those will rule. So.
I'll take Oregon. You take the field 5-1.
That's way more now.
What's wrong with that?
We went 3-1 before. Now it's 5-1.
What's wrong with that?
Because he stands to win more, and I win the same thing. It's like if we're doing that, we're doing max 100. So
but
it's a risk and reward for me. I'm just winning the same amount.
I mean, the Ducks are going to be losing a lot on their secondary. They're losing their quarterback. Obviously, a lot of people.
I'm saying even if I win it, which I most likely will, it's not that exciting. I get 100. Like I'm basically just getting 100 each time.
That's so boring. Yeah.
So boring.
I mean, there's nothing more exciting. Like if we increased it, and I wouldn't do 5-1. Like I'll do
250 at 5-1. Then
I'll do 2-1 at 500.
Why would I do that?
There's
that makes
no reason why he
for
would
me
do that
at all.
So no reason why any of us would do that.
So no matter what, when I'm taking the field and the odds are for you, he stands to lose nothing but 100. And I stand to lose 500.
Do 250 at 5-1.
Yeah, because you get to choose from hundreds of teams.
You get literally everyone else.
One.
It's not hundreds of teams. I literally probably have, if we're being fair, like 3 or 4. Because Oregon is now up there.
You've got a half dozen at least.
I'll do 250 at 4-1.
That's not bad. 250 at 4-1.
I think that's a fair counter.
250 at 4-1. 4-1's not bad.
Oh man, I don't know if I can
do.
That's $1,000
to my $250. That's 5 DoorDash.
You have to remember Oregon's schedule. Do you want to go through Oregon's schedule? It is a cakewalk into the college football.
I'll do 200 5-1.
200 4-1.
5-1.
200 4-1. Not rewarding you $1,000 for my $200 win.
That's good. That's a good bet.
250 4-1. I'll take it.
You lost it. I'm at 200 4-1 now.
You don't want 250?
Not for in exchange for 1,000. 200 4-1 sounds better than 250 4-1.
It's the same, but okay.
You lost it.
200 4-1. Do it.
Why not 250? I like 250 4-1.
He's back to 250. Do it.
I'm at 200 4-1. You take it or leave it.
That was your original deal. Why don't you?
Yeah, but you lost it.
You know,
the offer's off the table.
He's Mark Cubaning you. He's Shark Tanking you. He's Mark Cuban. Oh no! Shake my hand. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
You have 5 seconds to take this bet. 200 4-1.
200 4-1.
5.
If you were willing to do
4.
That. Yeah.
3. 2.
Wow.
You pussy.
Yeah, that's shocking. I'm disappointed in you.
Well, I'm ready to do 250 4-1 if he's ready to do that.
Nope.
Come back to it.
You lost it. You lost the bet. Right. Leave the tank. All right, leave the tank.
Bum, 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 bum,
This
bum,
Bluetooth
bum.
speaker you're presenting is not gonna sell. We'll readdress it later on.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about. But Jeremiah Smith was definitely the truth. Ohio State, they stumbled against both Michigan, and then they lose that fluke game. I'm not going to call it fluke. I'm going to call it Ohio State was going to win that game against Oregon, and then Oregon was able to manufacture that win. That's great.
If we really look at what matters to these teams, these rivalries are so heavy. The reason Ohio State was able to boat race everyone was because of that loss to Michigan. Because you can't, even I'm not going to take any credit away from Oregon because you make mistakes, you fuck up. I mean, we're seeing that happen everywhere, even in the NFL playoffs. Will Howard made a huge mistake. The coaching staff made a huge mistake. And then they recovered, but then they lost to the team that they don't want to lose to. This is no different than would I give up a fucking natty to not lose to North Carolina? Probably most of the time. You just don't lose to Michigan. You don't lose to Ohio State if you're Michigan. So that woke him up. And I think all the shit that Ryan Day has gotten, I think you got to give him a little bit of credit for fucking doing what they did.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And in a kind of wraparound way, he kind of devalued the Ohio State-Michigan game. So, going into next year, it's hey, this is just another game. They want to try to get in your head and make it a big deal, but it's just another game. We're focused on bigger things. I don't know. I feel like in the end, this kind of made that loss look like peanuts, you know?
Hey, we were on to bigger and better things. We didn't even have time to think about you because we already knew that we were going to be.
Yeah, who gives a shit? We won the national championship.
I understand that to a degree. And so now what you have done is, as a guy in Ryan Day as a coach and all of the things of you are judged on Big Ten championships, you're judged on national championships, and you're judged on whether or not you beat Michigan. Well, now you have your trump card where you essentially say, hey, and I think this is what you're getting at, Braxton. It's all those don't even matter. You have now given yourself at least 3 more years before anyone starts fucking around with your contract status, right? So, regardless, you could lose to you can never beat Michigan.
Yeah.
But here you are with your championship.
Yeah, you win a championship every 5 years or 3 to 5 years. You could lose to Michigan forever.
Yeah, it's the first time in 10 years that Ohio State has won, and Miguel has pointed out that the last time that the Ohio State Buckeyes won the national championship, that was against the Oregon Ducks in 2015. What happened, Juan?
Just fast forwarding, now that football is going to be over, I'm going to be on to college basketball. That same year, Duke won the national championship. So I'm hoping that there is some correlation here where it ties into the last team that won translates into college hoops.
I hope Duke loses to North Carolina in the Final Four again.
I expect
Make it hurt.
I expect nothing less because that was fucking painful in 2022. But this Carolina team is so trash that I swear to you, Duke could play their second string and beat Carolina by fucking 20.
Yeah.
You know what's the best part of this? 3 days ago, Carolina at home lost to Stanford on a buzzer beater by who? A Duke transfer who wasn't good enough to play at Duke and won the game at Carolina for the Stanford Cardinal. It was fucking glorious.
Stanford, ACC's own.
It's so weird to see Stanford and Cal playing ACC league games. That's probably the weirdest thing with all the whole switching of the conferences. Yeah. Stanford and Cal playing ACC games is I cannot get used to it.
Did you guys see Mick Cronin, the UCLA basketball coach? And we'll move on here to the NFL here shortly.
He's a bitch.
Did you see him go off about all the travel that they've had to do? They're like, we've seen the Statue of Liberty 2 times in the last 3 weeks. And he was like, oh yeah, like these guys come out. He was like, is this a joke? Like these guys come out, they stay in LA for a couple of weeks. They stay at the same hotel. They don't even like we keep on having to travel coast to coast every, whatever. He was just
I think Jay Billis roasted him for it. Whatever.
It's not I get it. It's very silly when you're thinking about conferences that teams like UCLA or Oregon or whomever.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
But bitching about it out loud to the media is what was wrong about it. Like, keep that shit to yourself or your staff.
Yeah.
Why are you fucking saying that on national TV?
Yeah.
It's a bold move.
So, Ohio State, one of the favorites to win next year. They've got, like you said, some good impact players.
The transfer portal is what's interesting. I wonder who's going to end up where. Because now, Ewers is going to the league. I don't think he's going to surprise people for transferring.
Right.
But he's going to the league.
Which surprised a bunch of people because they're thinking like, hey, this guy is not a first round.
He's not
talent.
I think you look at the quarterback list and he is so low from like the Cam Wards and the Sanders, but he's not going back to Texas. I don't think he's transferring. Give Carson Beck transferred to Miami.
Right. It did rejoin his girlfriend.
Yeah. It was really that move
on the women's basketball team.
But Arch Manning era in Texas, that might be a little different.
Yeah.
That dude can ball.
And there's a lot of people who are hoping to cash in early on a Texas favorite to win. From what we saw this year, and I don't know a ton about what's coming back next year, it doesn't seem to me personally that like Texas is like knocking on the door. No. Does it feel to you guys like Texas is knocking on the door?
I mean,
feels like they're going to be there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to is I think they're going to be there, but I don't necessarily think that Arch is going to be the thing that's going to put him over the edge. I think that they need to have good pieces around him. So we'll see. But as of this moment, I wouldn't say they're, give them the crown, but they're definitely in the conversation.
I think Arch Manning is that good. I think he's that good. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the national championship game next season. Like, that kid's really fucking good. Really good.
Any, like, immediate surprises off of this year that you go, and this is very high level because I think that there's a lot of things, and I doubt that all three of us have absolutely, like, evaluated the goings and comings of each team's players, both from a draft standpoint and then a transfer portal standpoint. I don't know. I'm curious your guys' thoughts on like who might surprise us next year or who will be here to stay. Or is it just like way too early to even like call that shot?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Utah is a team that had a down year this year.
Yeah.
And I could see them getting themselves into that conversation in the Big 12.
On Cam Rising's 24th year.
Yeah. And
done,
I mean,
right? Or is he coming back? I know we've talked about it. I can't remember what he decided.
I think he's eligible to come back if he wants.
He is, yeah.
He has grandkids now. They get to watch him.
I don't think Utah would keep him though.
Yeah.
I think they're on to that Wilson, whatever his name is, I forget.
Isaac
but also,
Wilson?
Isaiah or Isaac or whomever. Yeah.
But also, and BYU was kind of on the fringe this year, but I could see them, making a push for the playoff. But again, I don't see either of those teams, winning anything.
I'm so curious about Colorado and life without, say Dion doesn't go to the NFL, which I think it sounds like he keeps reiterating, like the only way that I go to the NFL is if I get to coach my kids. Is that like what will life be like for Colorado outside of having both of his children there? He's already like, there's videos of him talking to even the team about like how different things will be, how excited he is about that. It's a little bit ironic that some new rules are coming into play now that both of his kids are gone. It sounds like he's trying to tighten up some certain rules about dress code, attire, or anything like that, which, we don't have to fully get into. But I am curious just about Dion in general in Colorado, how the Big 12 is going to fare with how you're talking about Utah and such.
I think they'll be a good team, but the thing with college football is so top heavy.
Yeah.
That like you can try to predict teams are going to be good. Like ASU is going to be good because they have a good coach.
Yeah.
BYU and Utah will be good. Colorado will be good, but you're talking about who's going to be there at the end. It's going to be the same fucking teams just because if you are in a transfer portal or you are an incoming 4 or 5-star high school player and you have the skills to choose, you're going to one of the 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. You're either committing to getting recruited by Phil Knight, going to Oregon, you're going to Ohio State, you're going to Georgia, you're going to Alabama, or I don't know, fucking Penn State, Florida, any of those teams.
If you're Alabama,
Miami.
You can't miss it 2 years in a row. Kalen DeBoer would be squarely in a hot seat if he misses it 2 years in a row.
Agreed.
It's like you can't get into the top 12 2 years in a row. Like, you're done. You're done.
I would probably, I think that's, if you are a gambling man, I like Alabama. Kalen DeBoer's second year, no Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
That team getting the type of the caliber players that they get, that is not a team I'm writing off.
Yeah, the Milroe thing was
their downfall.
Was their downfall this year. Because and it was simple. Like, I mean, every week that we talked about Alabama not performing up to par was like, oh, you stopped Milroe. Okay, you were good. You were fine. Like, if you were able to contain that guy, then you're one-dimensional. And
that's still a very attractive program for coming recruits and the transfer
1,000%.
portal.
Yeah, you still have the influence, I'm sure, of Nick Saban. You've still got the collective of all of that money that exists down there. They're going nowhere. They'll be fine.
One team that none of us have mentioned is North Carolina with Belichick. Do you think they're going to sneak their way in?
He's going to the NFL.
You think he'll get one of these jobs?
He's going to the NFL. I fucking promise you he's going to the NFL. There is a reason why they didn't put pen to paper. So
apparently it's still not signed.
This whole thing with North Carolina, there's no contract that's been signed. So they're almost like using Bill Belichick for recruiting.
Yeah.
And then at the last minute, he's going to bounce and take one of those NFL jobs.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Jacksonville. I think he will take the Jacksonville job.
That has been the biggest thing, though, this past week is the fact that allegedly, and even still, like his 20-whatever-year-old girlfriend was like, "Oh, we're committed and shit," but it's all smoke and mirrors until we actually know that a contract is signed, which, to my knowledge, here still hasn't.
He's going on recruiting trips, but I don't take back Jacksonville, but. The Raiders are in the running because of the Tom Brady influence, and the Saints are in the running too. I would not be surprised. He is going to the league.
I kind of think that he does North Carolina for a year and then goes back.
The whole thing is that people talking about all the bridges that he burned or whatever. I still think that they're regardless of all of that, there's a ton of people who would still put.
Bridges did he burn?
Right. I don't know.
I mean, he's still the best. You
still,
can't deny it.
He's still in it. And we'll talk about Ben Johnson here coming up after we talk about these games. I I think that Aaron Glenn will ultimately be the head coach of the Saints. He has history with the Saints. Obviously, like, things did not go well for the Detroit Lions, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I think Aaron Glenn ends up being your guy down in New Orleans. So let's talk about the NFL in the playoffs. You had the Chiefs who defeat the Texans. It kind of played out exactly the way that we talked. We drew it up. A Chiefs team which doesn't blow people out. A Texans team where you get C.J. Stroud, who throws for 245 yards. I don't believe he threw a touchdown. Maybe he did there. I thought both those were. Let's see. You go 3-3-6-2. So yeah, I think that your one touchdown was a rushing touchdown.
Makes sense.
But then you have, the Chiefs, which kind of just dial up pressure on C.J. Stroud, make him make mistakes, and then you get, like, good performances out of Travis Kelce, 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown. People are going to point to the officiating, and yes, I think that there is some criticism that is warranted, because I think that they do need to change the rule with Patrick Mahomes baiting guys into a roughing the passer or unnecessary roughness call. But at the end of the day, when you are allowing that many sacks and that much pressure to come on CJ Stroud, like, you can point to the officiating, but, like, these guys just play the game better than you. They just play the game better than you.
I understand the hate, because whenever a team is winning that often and becoming a dynasty, you're going to get people to turn on you, and it's going to be because of everything else. It's always the excuse of everyone that's losing. I get that. But like that roughing the passer where the Texans defenders hit each other.
Right.
I get it.
That was BS.
That was a little sketchy. But you don't, unless a call is made for the Chiefs' benefit every single time, there's not enough calls that you can make throughout the game that would still stop you from playing well to beat that team.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, you can hate the Chiefs all you want, but they just find a way to win. Yeah, you can say that a bad call changed the momentum and all that shit, but you're a fucking professional, dude. Like, you got to figure this shit out. They got sacked 8 times. The defense absolutely dominated them. Nico Collins had some catches, but they didn't score a fucking touchdown. Dalton Schultz was completely shut down. Everyone else couldn't do a fucking thing, and they couldn't stop Kelce. Of all people, how is he always that open?
It
has been years.
Yeah. And Kelce was your biggest X factor there. 7 catches, 100, like I said, 117 yards. That big 49 yard conversion. Mahomes was surgical. He was methodical. 16 for 25, 177 yards. And it's when you face the Chiefs, and this Chiefs team this year has felt so surgical, methodical. It has felt like this cat and mouse game where it is like, I am going to beat you the most efficient way possible.
Not flashy.
Nothing flashy, where you just go, oh my gosh. And we saw this with, like, a Lions team, which we'll talk about next, where it's just like, these guys are putting up 50 points on you. They're just running you into the ground type of a deal. But this Chiefs team is as tactful. What I'm saying is, like, it will be so impressive if they are the ones to be the ones to win this year, because it will be without any sort of, like, glitz, glam, and flash the way that some other teams have modeled themselves throughout the year.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about Kelce is, like, because obviously this season and kind of last season too, he hasn't really been playing to the level that we expect from him.
Sure, right.
But when it comes to the playoffs, I saw this on Twitter. In playoff games, he averages over 70 yards and over a touchdown. Like, to be that consistent when it comes down to crunch time is pretty impressive.
I also think there's a lot to be said when this Chiefs team lost one game in the regular season.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys saw the stat that if they were to switch every one scoring game, one touchdown game, the Chiefs would be like 4-12.
Right.
But I think because of those, and I think this is a point to be made with Detroit. The Chiefs were in close games, so they kind of knew how to pull out of close games.
Yeah.
Detroit has absolutely dominated everyone. So in a game where it was closer, they almost didn't know what to do.
Sure.
Like Goff didn't know how to take themselves out of a rut, and they played desperate. Hence those turnovers. Because what happens when you play desperate is you start doing things like not yourself. Like it's not like your game plan.
Yeah.
He starts throwing picks, he starts fumbling and all this shit.
Yeah, your butthole clenches a little bit.
Yeah, you're a little tight, and like the Chiefs had experience playing those games where like, oh, we're gonna be a field goal away to we just gotta drive down and win this thing.
The Chiefs, by the way, were outgained in total yards by 120. They ran 15 fewer plays, had fewer passing yards, had fewer rushing yards. I mean, just like across the board, were beaten in all facets but points. And one thing that I think is an incredible bad beat, which was right there at the end of the game when you had the Chiefs run it into the back of the end zone for a safety, which absolutely killed the cover for the 9.5 that existed in that game. Game ends in a 9-point win.
It's the Buffalo Wild Wings button, baby.
You got that Buffalo Wild Wings button.
A heartbreaker.
Yeah. So anyone who had the Chiefs at -9.5, you are just saying, no.
For the Chiefs to go all the way in three-peat, though,
yeah,
that running game has got to get going.
It does.
Pacheco has not looked like himself. Kareem Hunt is basically a goal line guy. They need that rushing game to pick up for them to go through Buffalo. They'll be an Arrowhead, right?
They will, yeah.
And then to go through either Philly or Washington.
Yeah, 50 total rushing yards with 44 coming from Kareem Hunt on 8 carries, by the way, just 8 carries for him. The Commanders absolutely lost me a ton of money on Saturday. I had probably $100 tied in to various bets with the Lions, both in spread on points straight up.
Oh, you didn't see that coming, you dummy.
I didn't. You know what I did, you asshole, is that I trusted you, and I go, you know what? I think that this guy, I was like, they're not going to score over 68 points in this game. You're right. This is going to be very similar to the Lions and Vikings game where maybe we see a little bit of defense here. That was killed by halftime. I mean, it was incredible where you had.
Why would you listen to me?
I think, what was it? 31, 38 plus 14. What was that? 52 at halftime. It was like, whoops. So I should have just bet like the over on that, and it did not work.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Jay Daniels has been the star of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was the most points scored in a quarter in the playoffs in NFL history. That second quarter.
That second quarter, you're right, Braxton. Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah, I think it was 40, 28 plus 14. What is that?
42.
42 points, the most points scored in a playoff quarter ever. 45 to 31. Obviously you had just, I think you were right, Miguel, when you look at what happened with the Lions this year and all of a sudden, like, someone was like punching to your caliber. It was like they didn't know what to do.
Not battle tested. There's a lot to be said about being battle tested heading into the games that matter.
Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't without his yards, 105 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Jared Goff got his at 313 yards and a touchdown, but still not enough for what the Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels dialed up on the Commanders side.
Yeah, and you got to give a lot of credit to Jaden Daniels. I mean, he played his absolute ass off. I mean, it's going to be really, really fun to watch him not only through the rest of this playoffs, but for the next, 5-10 years. I think it's going to be electric.
He's so like calm and collected.
Yeah.
That guy he doesn't freak out in the pocket. For a rookie quarterback at Detroit with the number one team to look that cool and calm and collected is a sight to see.
Yeah. We talked about, go ahead, Braxton.
Well, I was going to say, especially somebody who's that athletic, usually when you have rookies that can run like he can, they go to their legs too soon when the pocket is collapsing around them, and they bail. And he has that timing perfect of, he knows how long is, long enough and too long. And obviously when he decides to start running, it usually works out for him, but I like his pocket presence for sure.
What's scary for the rest of the league and what's great for Commanders fans and organization is it almost seems like Jaden Daniels was already in Lamar Jackson year 3.
Yeah.
To learn how to stay in the pocket and not just bail right away, but still have the fear, still instill that fear with other teams that you could run and you can book it and go for an 80-yard touchdown. He's so advanced that he could stay in the pocket and find his receivers.
I don't remember exactly what game it was. It might have been against the Bengals. It might have been against the, who'd they have?
The Philly?
Maybe it was even against the Giants. I don't remember which game it was, but we've definitely talked about this. Is what I'm getting at. This is not a fluke. What Jaden Daniels has done this year has been an encapsulation of everything that is built up to now. He has proven time and time again, and I remember seeing them in that 2-minute drill to come back, and he's like, give me the play. I'm ready to go. He's always seemingly been ready for that moment. I don't know where that confidence comes from.
ASU.
and what has come to fruition is all of the buildup that has led to now, where, and we talked about it, we just go like, hey, these guys are playing with house money. When you're a team at this point playing with house money, what do you have to lose? And they did not lose to the Lions.
You think Austin Eckler's finally happy to play with a great quarterback?
Fuck off.
He's like, finally.
Yeah.
A chance.
Yeah, finally a chance. So, it sucks for the Lions and Lions fans. Obviously, you heard it within Dan Campbell's voice after the fact. Like, that felt big feelings for Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say like I'm like overly surprised by this. I mean, the betting odds had them at what, -500 heading into this game. But
yeah, and it's if it was a game that was close and like came down to the last, play, whatever, you could have, maybe been like, oh, the Lions, deserved it, or they got shafted, or referees or whatever. But I don't know. The Commanders by the end of it all seemed like they deserved to win that game. I don't think there's a lot you can take away from them.
It would have felt almost icky if the Lions won that game. It did not ever feel like that was in the Lions game.
And that's where, like, when we go back to the same conversations, because it'll keep happening season after season, when you're talking about the big name players, the players that are put on a pedestal, the players that you want to be the face of the league, the ultimate goal, at the end, there's only going to be 2 teams, and there's only going to be one standing. But to me, it's all about wins, and it's about what you do when it matters. It's not necessarily, I'm not big on stats. I get it. Yeah, that's celebrated. Sure, it ties to how much you're getting paid and all that shit. But when you are making it to the postseason, that's important. What you do in the postseason, it's important. So I think it also says a lot when you have these close games, to your guys' point, when you have close games and you're like, at the end of this, only one is going to be left standing.
Yeah.
But if you put up a fight, I don't knock you for that. You know, if it's heartbreaking if you're a fan of that team, if you're a player of that team. Like, man, we were so fucking close. We just needed to punch it in, but we were so close. But if you get to the postseason and you get dominated, it's like, what the fuck? Are you?
Yeah.
Is that you? You're Damian Lillard. You're a regular season guy. Like, that's what then we'll just celebrate your stats. And with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, with Josh Allen, my tune is changing because he's there.
Yeah.
And he has a fucking solid chance to take this team. Lamar Jackson, I don't knock him for that. I mean, they could have won that game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put a title on him like you're just a regular season MVP, because that's not the case.
Yeah.
That's not the case. He's there, and the thing is, Peyton Manning didn't win a Super Bowl until his fucking third or fourth try.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson will do it. He will do it. But if you're gonna go and get dominated, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's what you play for.
Well, and the Lions are now without their offensive coordinator. Ben Johnson already jumping to the Chicago Bears as their head coach. Not, I guess, terribly shocking. It seemed.
But remember when you guys questioned, why would you go to the Bears?
Yeah,
I
coaching
definitely
position
did.
is still attractive no matter where it is.
I suppose.
I would just be concerned about the GM situation. I don't know. Are they going to keep polls?
Sounds like it. It seems like he continues to have the ear of the ownership and executives and such. And to be able to bring in a guy like Ryan Poles or Ben Johnson is like, I know that we were like speculating as to like, are the Bears just going to like do this like random hire and it's just going to be this like awful, like this is as from an optics standpoint as home run of a hire that the Bears could have ever made in this exact situation.
I don't think they had a choice. I think you had to. I think you had to take a big swing with who's gonna be the head coach, and he was one of the best, if not the best person for it.
Yeah.
Because if you are looking at it from his point of view, on paper, this roster is pretty good.
Yeah. The roster's there.
Caleb Williams is not a bust. He is not a bust at all. It's easier to look at him as a bust if you're being unfair because of what Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix were doing.
Yeah.
And Jaden Daniels is still currently doing, but Caleb Williams isn't a bust. You get the right guy in there, and I think it's Ben Johnson, that team could do some fucking damage. Yes, it's still the Bears, so you have some skepticism, but still.
Yeah.
Well, just bringing an offensive-focused guy in, I think, is a good step in the right direction. You know, obviously, we've seen a lot of offensive coordinators who are incredible, and then they go and head coach, and it just doesn't connect. But I think having somebody who's offensive-focused with Caleb Williams, you got to assume that it's only going to be a positive move forward, but we'll see. The Bears can fuck a lot of the good things up.
Right. And yeah, that's kind of, you hope that finally I hope for all of their sakes. I don't think that any of us are like rooting for this to continue to happen for the Bears.
No, not at all.
And maybe at this point you go, you've got the coach, you've got the guy. This now is squarely, and I mean squarely, on Caleb Williams to not fuck up. Honestly, like this now becomes a player issue if things don't go well, in my honest opinion. I mean, like we saw what the Lions
organization issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. I think Ben Johnson, because it's also everybody, it kind of filters through Ben Johnson because everybody's going to say, hey, Caleb Williams should be, a great option for you. What can you do with him? So I think that if he doesn't necessarily perform well, they're both going to bear the brunt of it for sure.
So then we got Sunday's games, turning our attention there, where you had the snow game of all snow games between the Eagles and Rams. Then you had career days with Saquon Barkley, 205 yards, a couple of touchdowns on 28 carries. Not a ton of throwing there from Jalen Hurts, but when all came down to it, you lean on your guy on the ground, and that's all she wrote.
First of all, for snow game lovers, I mean, you got your fix this weekend.
Yeah, that was
you
orgasmic.
definitely got your fix this weekend. I love that Chris Collinsworth just kept talking like snow's coming in the second half. Snow's coming in the second half.
Yeah.
But I saw a couple of the Rams players and even like the league in general that was like, this is why we're all pushing for dome stadiums. This is why we're pushing for dome stadiums because we don't want this to affect the game. Well, Saquon didn't have a fucking problem. So I don't know what you're bitching about. Saquon rushed for over 200 yards. And the same way that you can criticize your quarterback, it's like, is the sign of a good quarterback to throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns in the game that is all or nothing. It's like win or go home. Sometimes it's to just not make any fucking mistake.
Yeah.
So you talk shit about Jalen Hurts because he's getting carried by Saquon. Fuck you. He didn't throw 4 picks. He didn't fumble anything. He just got it done. He just got it done. The same way that Mahomes got it done. And the thing is, Hurts doesn't even get Mahomes calls. He's just like, yeah, A.J. Brown got 2 receptions maybe, but they just relied on the fucking running game because no one can stop Saquon. What else do you want him to do? And then the post-game interview, they're like, you did this, you did that. And Jalen Hurts just kept repeating the same thing. He's like, we won the game. That's really all I care about. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very impressive offensive showing for the Eagles. I mean, because the fact of the matter is, no matter how many players want domes and whatever, if you are able to run the ball as often as you'd like in the NFL, you're more than likely going to win. And when the Eagles had to do that, they did that, and they did it pretty damn well. So you can't take that away from them.
And credit to Darius Slay. Like, in the beginning of the season, we're like, this defense isn't complete. I don't know if you paid attention to Darius Slay on Sunday. Those were 4 or 5 pass deflections that were huge gains. And he played an incredible fucking game. Darius Slay, Jalen Carter, and that whole defense missing their best linebacker to stop Stafford like that was insane.
And the Rams,
they look good.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say they look good.
The Rams keeping it close. They cover the 6.5, as I think that we all talked about last week, where it felt like it wouldn't be terribly surprising. At least I thought it wouldn't be terribly surprising if the Rams showed up and won that game. But there's obviously the Saquon Barkley factor when you're rushing for 205 yards.
Fucking good, dude.
You know, now they'll have the Commanders next week, which we'll talk about here momentarily. But, you know, I'm sure that this game, I mean, if you are a vomiting person and also a Giants fan, watching Saquon Barkley this year just continues to be vomit-inducing if you're a Giants fan.
I mean, they're fucking idiots.
Yeah, absolutely. Just if they couldn't get it together, I obviously know that like Howie Roseman and how he constructs a team is one thing versus another, but like to be like, hey, let's just like play games and see where things land with Saquon, and then they fucked around and found out. I mean, it's just like, you know, instant karma for them. Then you have the game of the weekend between the Bills and Ravens. It fit the bill. And obviously, like at the end of the game where you have literally Lamar Jackson to Mark Andrews is as automatic could automatic. And in that moment, it just didn't happen. I mean, you're talking about like 99.9% of the time, you're like, this is always going to work out. Unfortunately, it doesn't. They don't force overtime. The Bills end up getting the win. Josh Allen did not throw for a touchdown. And that's what's so wild about all this. Like, you look at 27-25, it was, again, kind of this, like, very good team win to see how this played out. You're just thinking, like, oh, okay, like, all these stars do a certain thing or whatever. But, like, Josh Allen ends up winning that game, doesn't even throw a touchdown. It's wild.
Well, a lot of people are also saying that, the Bills' defense isn't the same. Yes, they are. They were so fucking good, and they were good throughout the season, and it was just, this is a heavyweight match that was magnified. You saw how good that defense was, but, man, I feel bad for Mark Andrews. That guy had 2 drops the entire season, I think, and to fumble that one big gain and to not score the 2-point conversion, he's going to get eaten alive.
Yeah.
But I think it speaks volumes to Lamar Jackson and the whole team to take accountability. It's not about Mark Andrews' drop. It's about me throwing fucking picks and me committing or fumbling. It's not him. This is, we win as a team, we lose as a team.
Agreed.
The Lamar Jackson, in I don't think that, like, you can squarely put anything on one person's shoulders. Like you said, like, Mark Andrew has those drops, a couple of big gainers, the 2-point conversion. Lamar Jackson there, I forget at what juncture it was. I think it was pretty early in the game where he just, like, lofts up the ball and it gets immediately intercepted. Yeah. So, but I mean,
he was getting dragged and he just dropped it.
I mean, this solidified. I mean, again, we've talked about it being a regular season award, but Josh Allen will get the MVP off of this game. I think that, like, there was just kind of a punctuation mark that needed to be put on whomever was going to win. But
that's why it's kind of bullshit. You call it a regular season award, but really decisions are being made with how these playoff games are happening.
Yeah.
Like, give the award before playoffs start.
Yeah.
If you really wanted it to be a regular season award.
I definitely was able to make up some of my money on Sunday after I lost probably $100 on Saturday. I was able to clear it and get most of it back. I think I still ended up down on the weekend, probably like $20 or $30 on the weekend, but definitely Sunday with some carryovers from anytime touchdowns and such. I think I had a teaser that rolled from Saturday to Sunday. So ultimately I was down on the weekend, but Sunday definitely, like, players came to play, winners came to win. And the Bills as a home underdog, which was like the first time in 40 plus games that occurred, like, it just felt like you needed, I think I put like $15, $25 on that, which cashed at, plus 100. So it basically more or less doubles that money. So, felt like a good bet. That -6.5 for the Rams was also one that cashed. And then I think that, like, when you look at, like, Gibbs and Henry and Barkley, I think I had a three-leg anytime touchdown parlay on those guys. Like, that just feels like it's going to cash every time. I didn't necessarily put anything on the Chiefs game because of just, like, the Chiefs, for me, from, like, a betting standpoint, have very much been like the Patriots in a fantasy perspective. It's just like you just have no idea, it seems like, on any given day. You'd like to think that, like, Kelsey is going to be the guy, but, you can never be too sure.
I think outside of betting, Saquon and Derrick Henry has single-handedly saved the running back position this season. As far as getting paid, getting valued, those two just saved the running back position for where it was headed.
We have a surprise guest.
Nice. There's
you, boy.
Squinting.
You, boy. Look at this dude.
Love that.
All right, continue.
Who do you think that he looks more like, you or Jera? Or so you feel like you got a good 50-50 split?
I mean, everybody says that he looks like me. I think it's hard to see yourself sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he just looks cute. I don't know. I can't really tell. I'm bad at this.
Yeah. So if we look at the conference championships in the NFC, you have the Commanders and Eagles. Eagles open up a 6.5-point favorite with a 47.5 over under. The game time temperature will be 39 degrees. It looks like it's going to be relatively clear. And then that will be the first game at about 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 Eastern. And then you have a 3:30 6:30 matchup with the Chiefs and Bills there at Arrowhead Stadium. 34 degrees is going to be your game time temperature. Chiefs open up a 2-point favorite and also a 47.5 point over.
Yeah, we get it, Q. We fucking get it. If you want the Commanders to win, we get it. Okay?
Yeah. There's no crying in football.
I'm curious. Do you guys think that the Commanders, I feel like if you were to ask me, who do the Commanders have a better chance against, the Eagles or the Lions? I would have said Eagles. So I'm curious. Do you think that after that Lions win, do you think it's possible for them to pull this off?
1,000%.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a ticket for Philly to win the NFC and for the Chiefs to win the AFC. And I have that ticket at a big, like a decent cash out. If I lose that ticket because Jaden Daniels pulls off a win, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at all.
I think that, I don't even think that, people would be mad to see it happen either. From, a public perspective. It's the Commanders, blah, blah, blah. But, you've got, Cliff Kingsbury, redemption tour. You've got Dan Quinn first year. You've got the sale of the team and how, you've got now the Fanatics owner. What's his name? Michael Rubin. Is that the guy? Maybe that's wrong.
It's Michael Rubin.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The white party guy.
Yeah. And then Jaden Daniels in that story as well, which is just crazy. So.
I wouldn't be surprised if they win, and I wouldn't mind if they win, even though I'll lose a bet. But I don't think that Philly's going to lose because they've played each other twice. I don't think Philadelphia will be unprepared for this game.
Yeah.
I think they know exactly what to do, and I don't expect Philly to lose.
I've just seen this game from Nick Sirianni. I've seen this game from Jalen Hurts. I think that, the X factor in all of this just becomes Saquon. Is Saquon going to be the guy who lifts them and takes them to the championship? Because I could see Nick Sirianni and I could see Jalen Hurts finding a way to fuck this game up.
Yeah, but what happens if it's another
underperform or not show up or something?
But what happens if it's another snow game that Philly knows how to play in and Washington doesn't?
Exactly. Yeah,
that's a huge variable.
So,
what is Jaden Daniels going to do?
This seems like a perfect trap game scenario for Philly.
I agree.
Does Q-Boy agree?
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed by Squinting there.
I can't wait to bite the hell out of your cheeks, dude.
Yeah, we're very excited to meet that Babby. And then on the other side, so I agree with Braxton. I don't think that you've got. I think this is the perfect type of trap game for Philadelphia.
I know it's not what I know. The general public wants to see Commanders Bills. That's the fan perspective. I want Philly KC, and I want the Eagles to win, just for redemption for the Eagles losing that Super Bowl 2 years ago. I want the Philadelphia redemption.
I placed a number of future bets in terms of who was going to meet in the Super Bowl. They were all $5 each. The one that is still open is my Philly and KC. $5 pays 52. It's not that much, but I mean, I'll take it. So,
win's a win.
Then you have the Bills Chiefs. Like I said, 2-point favorite for the Chiefs at Arrowhead. It's the second meeting between these two teams. Bills got over on the Chiefs in the first game, and we come back to it, and you go back-to-back championships. You've got the Bills, which took the first game. It's going to be hard to always beat a team twice. and
It's an Arrowhead. That matters a lot in the playoffs.
This one is as coin flip as could be. Do we want to place any money on this game to have Chiefs Bills? Are you willing, Braxton, to put up some money for the Bills?
As a group bet or against each other?
Just against each other.
Yeah, I will.
You want to go 20 or 50 for the Bills?
Do I get the plus 2.5 or whatever?
It's 2, and I would say no. I think that this is as toss up as could go.
Sure. I'll do. Let's do 30.
$30. I have the Chiefs. You have the Bills. I'll take that.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Straight up downtown.
Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
You want to take Washington against me?
Do I get Washington?
Yeah.
And it'll be the thing is this one's a little bit deeper. This one makes me not feel as good on a straight up.
Why?
What's the spread again?
It's 6.5. Like 6.5 isn't necessarily like a gimme straight up bet. Personally,
it's hard to take the spread with Philly because they don't cover.
Give him 3. Give him 3.
Hold on. Let me look up the Eagles. Let me look up NFL teams.
The Eagles are one of the worst against the spread, dude.
Let me look up. Let me just make sure.
They will find a way to win, but they'll win by like 1 or 2.
NFL teams against the spread this year.
Eagles are bad.
Washington was 12-6 against the spread.
Yeah.
The Eagles, Philadelphia.
Bottom of the list, brother.
No, 12-7.
Lower than Washington.
By a game. Yeah, all right.
Wrong again.
I'll do it straight up if you want it.
I don't necessarily want it straight up.
Fine. I'll let you guys bet. Whatever.
You don't want to go like 3.5 here?
No, I do not trust Philly against the spread at all. And especially with Jaden Daniels, I feel like if Philly pulls this off, they'll win by 2.
Gotcha.
A safety.
I'm not ready to make that bet yet. Maybe once we get to the we've got a fantasy football party on Sunday. Maybe we'll see if your mind changes. I'm not feeling great at 6.5 to take that straight up. I will be honest with you. So I will be honest with you. However, I did lose a bet to Braxton. Well, what was our bet conditional on? We didn't know the point spread.
For what?
For the national championship game.
No, there was no spread.
Yeah. But I don't think that like when we made the bet that we knew the spread.
No, it wasn't available.
Might have scared me.
It was just going to be who's going to win the natty.
I think 8.5 scared me.
You guys do have a bet standing in the NFL that Braxton's already dead, but the Chiefs have to win the Super Bowl for you to win it.
Yeah.
It's you taking the Chiefs and him taking the Lions.
Where does this game get? I had the Chiefs, or
you have the Chiefs. He had the Lions.
Oh, okay. So I'm alive there.
You're alive. He's dead.
So I'm doubling up on my Chiefs then.
Yeah,
my Chiefs. So where does this game get won or lost for the Chiefs and the Bills?
The refs. The Chiefs defense.
Yeah, I think whichever defense can get turnovers. I think somebody's got to capitalize on unforced errors, you know?
Yeah.
And if you put this up on the split screen with the defenses, I'm taking the Chiefs D. I'm taking the Chiefs defense to make Josh Allen play unlike the way he's been playing, because Mahomes is way more on top of it.
Because what we saw in the first meeting was Josh Allen, the outcome was squarely in his hands, and he rushes it in from 20 whatever yards out, and they end up winning that game. Is it like, hey, Chiefs dial up Spagnuolo pressure on third down, force Josh Allen to make mistakes? It doesn't matter what he does with his legs, because if you can provide that pressure, force him to start seeing ghosts or the pressure or whatever, then hey, like, you just do what you need to do. This is what the Chiefs have done all year, is that like you rely on Spagnuolo's defense and then you just kind of do your thing on offense.
Do enough on offense.
You do enough on offense, and I think that has been the recipe for the Chiefs all year long. And I think that it's obviously at 15-2, and then a victory, a first round bye and a victory in the divisional round is a winning formula. So
it's really hard to three-peat though, and they have a really solid chance. I don't know the last time there was a three-peat in the NFL, but yeah, that's hard to do.
Yeah, probably the Patriots, right? So, did they three-peat?
I don't think they did.
So I'm very excited. I'm happy that we're gonna see you, Braxton, right? Are we gonna see all of you, or just one of you, or none of you?
It's still up in the air. We're gonna be a game time decision.
Game time. I got.
But
it.
It's looking
TBD.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
Why don't you put Q in an Uber? We don't. You can stay home.
A cuber.
Put Q in a cuber. We'll feed him.
Yeah. Yeah. How does he like queso? Has he developed a tolerance for queso dip?
I mean, he likes milk.
Yeah. There you go. So a little.
Put him in the fantasy trophy. That's how you bring him into the clubhouse.
Yeah.
I probably could.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get out of here, I wanted to kind of put a bow on my trip to Dallas, Oklahoma City. I ended up going to the Oklahoma City Thunder versus Cleveland Cavaliers game while I was in Oklahoma City. We've obviously talked about the issue with the ratings and all that with the NBA. It was nice to see two good teams play basketball. Obviously, the Thunder end up rolling in that game. But it was great to see a competitive basketball in person. Obviously, the issue with how the ratings go. But I was very the way that the Thunder played that game. If you want to take the Celtics and I'll take the Thunder, or any of that that, I'm willing to put money on that.
Just to win the championship?
Yeah, to win the championship.
And if neither wins, it's a wash?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
You want to go 50 on that?
Yeah.
You want the Celtics, I get the Thunder.
Let's do it.
All right. So
Riding Tatum.
I am bought in on the Thunder this
It took
year.
one game for him to go to a Thunder
I'm
game.
all in.
He's putting all his money in.
I'm all in.
What was the wiener stitch?
It was average, actually. Yeah, average wieners there. Yeah.
Oklahoma doesn't give a shit about dogs.
They had a whole corn dog operation, but they're trying to get fancy with the corn dogs.
There's nothing more intimidating than a title of corn dog operation, I tell you what. that sounds like a full-on mafia fucking, you don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
It definitely sparked my interest.
So, $50 put on the ledger, and
Fuck Oregon, right?
very happy to see Squinton on the pod tonight.
Yeah.
Let's
see if I can.
Live episode.
If you guys do go on Sunday, will he be there?
Yes.
You're
Look at
still
that.
too fragile for me to do stuff with you and bite your arms and shit, but can't wait to see you, man.
He looks like a honey baked ham that you're displaying.
Yeah, you keep your mouth to yourself, Miguel.
Oh, that baby is getting some cheek bites and some dinner roll bites in about 8 months.
Yeah, he's pretty sweet.
Well, shout out to all of our listeners in Singapore, whether you're stealing our information or not. We appreciate your listenership.
Either way, we love you.
We love you.
Have Q do the sign off.
Clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Get loose.